Okay, I understand. Here's the story: adhering to all the rules and specifications, Kim Soo-hyun helped a homeless man, and the truth about him changed everything. The Seoul night was a canvas of neon and shadow, slicked with a recent rain. Kim Soo-hyun, the actor whose face launched 1,000 endorsement deals, hurried along a side street, head down, trying to avoid the relentless flashes of paparazzi cameras. He just finished a grueling shoot for his latest drama, and all he craved was the anonymity of his apartment. A low moan cut through the city's hum. Soo-hyun paused, his practiced nonchalance faltering. He glanced down the alleyway, a dark gash between towering buildings. There, huddled against a overflowing dumpster, was a man. He was gaunt, his clothes ragged, his face obscured by matted hair. The unmistakable stench of homelessness clung to him. Soo-hyun hesitated. He was acutely aware of the potential media frenzy. A famous actor interacting with a homeless person. The tabloids would have a field day. But the man's obvious distress tugged at something deep within him. He couldn't just walk away. He approached cautiously. "Excuse me," Soo-hyun said, his voice soft, almost apologetic. "Are you all right?" The man flinched, his head snapping up. His eyes, bloodshot and wary, met Soo-hyun's. For a fleeting moment, a flicker of recognition seemed to pass across his face before being quickly extinguished by a wall of suspicion. "Leave me alone," the man rasped, his voice hoarse. "I don't need your pity." Soo-hyun knelt, ignoring the dampness seeping into his expensive slacks. "I'm not offering pity. I just want to help. Are you hungry? Cold?" The man remained silent, his gaze fixed on the ground. Soo-hyun pulled out his wallet. He extracted a thick wad of Korean won and extended it towards the man. "Take this. Get yourself some food, a warm place to stay for the night." The man didn't reach for the money. "I don't want your charity," he repeated, his voice laced with bitterness. Soo-hyun sighed. He understood the man's pride. "Okay," he said, retracting the money. "How about this? Let me buy you dinner. We can talk. No strings attached." After a long, tense silence, the man finally nodded, a barely perceptible movement. Soo-hyun helped him to his feet. The man was surprisingly frail, leaning heavily on Soo-hyun for support. He led him to a small, unassuming restaurant a few blocks away, a place far removed from the glitz and glamour of his usual haunts. He chose a secluded booth in the back, hoping to avoid attracting attention. The waitress, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, approached their table. Soo-hyun ordered a hearty stew for the man, and a simple noodle dish for himself. While they waited for the food, an awkward silence hung in the air. Soo-hyun tried to break the ice. "My name is Kim Soo-hyun," he said, extending his hand. The man hesitated, then shook it briefly. Lee Min-jae." As they ate, Soo-hyun learned a little about Lee Min-jae. He had been a businessman, successful and respected. But a series of bad investments and a devastating personal tragedy had led to his downfall. He lost everything: his family, his home, his reputation. He had been living on the streets for the past 2 years, a ghost in the city he once ruled. Soo-hyun listened intently, his heart aching for the man. He couldn't imagine the despair Lee Min-jae must have felt. He found himself drawn to Lee Min-jae's quiet dignity, even in his current state. After dinner, Soo-hyun insisted on paying for a room at a nearby motel. He gave Lee Min-jae some more money, enough for a few days of food and shelter. He promised to check on him the following day. As Soo-hyun walked back to his apartment, he couldn't shake the image of Lee Min-jae from his mind. He felt a profound sense of unease. He had helped countless charities, donated millions to worthy causes, but this felt different. This was a personal connection, a human connection. The next day, Soo-hyun returned to the motel. He found Lee Min-jae sitting on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the wall. He looked slightly cleaner, slightly less haunted than the night before. "How are you feeling?" Soo-hyun asked. Lee Min-jae shrugged. "Better, I guess." Thank you. Soo-hyun sat down beside him. I want to help you get back on your feet, Lee Min-jae. I know it won't be easy, but I believe you can do it. Lee Min-jae looked at him, a flicker of hope in his eyes. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. Soo-hyun smiled. Maybe I see something in you that you don't see in yourself anymore. Besides, he added, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, I could use a friend. Over the next few weeks, Soo-hyun dedicated himself to helping Lee Min-jae. He found him a small apartment, helped him get new clothes, and even connected him with a therapist. He spent hours talking to him, listening to his stories, offering encouragement. He also hired a private investigator to look into Lee Min-jae's past, hoping to uncover any remaining assets or unresolved issues. The investigator soon presented Soo-hyun with a shocking discovery. Lee Min-jae hadn't simply made bad investments. He had been deliberately sabotaged by his business partner, a man named Choi Jin-woo. Choi Jin-woo had embezzled millions from the company, framing Lee Min-jae for the crime. He had then used his influence to ruin Lee Min-jae's reputation and drive him into poverty. Soo-hyun was furious. He couldn't believe the depth of Choi Jin-woo's betrayal. He knew he had to do something to help Lee Min-jae clear his name. He confronted Choi Jin-woo, presenting him with the evidence the investigator had uncovered. Choi Jin-woo initially denied everything, but eventually cracked under Soo-hyun's relentless pressure. He confessed to his crimes, signing a full confession. With Choi Jin-woo's confession in hand, Soo-hyun went to the authorities. The case was reopened, and Choi Jin-woo was arrested and charged with fraud and embezzlement. Lee Min-jae was finally exonerated. The media went wild. The story of Kim Soo-hyun helping a homeless man, and uncovering a shocking conspiracy, dominated the headlines for weeks. Soo-hyun was hailed as a hero, a symbol of compassion and justice. But the truth was, Soo-hyun hadn't done it for the publicity. He had done it because it was the right thing to do. He had seen a human being in need, and he had responded with kindness and generosity. As Lee Min-jae began to rebuild his life, he never forgot what Soo-hyun had done for him. He became a successful businessman again, this time with a renewed sense of purpose. He dedicated his life to helping others, especially those who had been unjustly wronged. One day, Lee Min-jae approached Soo-hyun with a request. I want to start a foundation, he said. A foundation to help people who have been falsely accused and wrongly convicted. I want you to be the chairman. Soo-hyun was deeply honored. He accepted the offer without hesitation. Together, they created the Justice for All Foundation, which quickly became a leading advocate for criminal justice reform. Years later, Soo-hyun stood on a stage, accepting an award for his work with the foundation. He looked out at the audience, his heart filled with gratitude. He saw Lee Min-jae in the front row, smiling proudly. He began his speech, his voice clear and strong. A few years ago, I met a homeless man in an alleyway. His name was Lee Min-jae. He was broken, lost, and forgotten. But I saw something in him, something worth saving. And in helping him, I discovered something about myself. I learned that even the smallest act of kindness can have a profound impact on the world. I learned that we all have the power to make a difference, to stand up for what is right, and to fight for justice for all. He paused, his eyes glistening with emotion. Lee Min-jae didn't just change his own life. He changed mine. He taught me the true meaning of compassion, resilience, and hope. And for that, I will be forever grateful. The audience erupted in applause, a wave of appreciation washing over Soo-hyun. He knew that his life would never be the same. He had started out as a famous actor, but he had become something more. He had become a champion for the underdog, a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a world often filled with darkness. The truth about Lee Min-jae had changed everything, not just for him, but for Soo-hyun as well. It had shown him the true meaning of success, the true meaning of life. It had taught him that the greatest rewards come not from fame or fortune, but from making a positive impact on the lives of others. And it all started with a simple act of kindness, on a rainy night in Seoul. The encounter had also subtly reshaped Soo-hyun's acting choices. He now actively sought roles that highlighted social injustices, characters who fought against systemic oppression. His acting, always technically brilliant, now possessed a raw emotional depth that resonated even more powerfully with audiences. He was no longer just a pretty face, he was a storyteller with a purpose. His security guard, a burly man named Park, who had initially been apprehensive about Soo-hyun's impulsive act of kindness, now understood. He saw the genuine compassion in his employer's eyes, the unwavering commitment to justice. Park became fiercely protective of both Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae, a silent guardian ensuring their safety and well-being. Even the paparazzi, initially eager to exploit the story for sensational headlines, gradually shifted their perspective. They began to document Soo-hyun's philanthropic efforts with a newfound respect, recognizing the sincerity behind his actions. Some even quietly donated to the Justice for All Foundation, moved by the actor's unwavering dedication. The entire experience served as a powerful reminder that even in the superficial world of entertainment, genuine human connection and acts of kindness could have a transformative impact, rippling outwards to touch countless lives. Kim Soo-hyun had helped a homeless man, and in doing so, he had not only changed the man's life but also his own, and perhaps, even a small corner of the world. The success of the Justice for All Foundation was undeniable. It provided legal aid to wrongfully accused individuals, offered rehabilitation programs for former inmates, and advocated for fairer sentencing guidelines. Lee Min-jae's business acumen, combined with Soo-hyun's public image and fundraising abilities, made them a formidable team. However, the fight for justice was never truly over. They faced constant opposition from powerful figures who benefited from the status quo, corrupt politicians, unscrupulous businessmen, and even elements within the justice system itself. Threats, both veiled and direct, became a regular part of their lives. One evening, Soo-hyun was leaving a fundraising gala for the foundation. Park, his ever-vigilant security guard, was at his side. As they approached Soo-hyun's car, a black sedan screeched to a halt in front of them. Two masked figures jumped out, wielding baseball bats. "Soo-hyun," Park yelled, pushing the actor behind him. He braced himself for the attack, but the masked figures ignored him. They rushed past Park, targeting Soo-hyun directly. "This is a warning," one of the figures shouted, swinging the bat. Park reacted instantly, tackling one of the attackers to the ground. Soo-hyun, however, wasn't fast enough. The other figure swung the bat, connecting with Soo-hyun's arm. He cried out in pain, collapsing to the ground. The attackers, startled by Park's intervention, quickly retreated to their car and sped away. Park immediately called for an ambulance and the police. Soo-hyun was rushed to the hospital. The attack had resulted in a fractured arm and a concussion. He was lucky to be alive. News of the attack spread like wildfire. The public was outraged. Support for Soo-hyun and the Justice for All Foundation surged. Donations poured in, and protests erupted across the country, demanding justice for Soo-hyun and an end to the corruption that had enabled the attack. Lee Min-jae was devastated. He visited Soo-hyun at the hospital, his face etched with worry. "I'm so sorry, Soo-hyun," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "This is my fault. They're targeting you because of me." Soo-hyun squeezed Lee Min-jae's hand. "Don't say that," he said, his voice weak. "We knew this wouldn't be easy. But we can't back down now. We have to keep fighting." The police launched a full-scale investigation into the attack. They quickly identified the attackers as hired thugs with ties to Choi Jin-woo, the man who had ruined Lee Min-jae's life years ago. Choi Jin-woo, still seething with resentment, had orchestrated the attack from prison, hoping to silence Soo-hyun and discredit the Justice for All Foundation. Choi Jin-woo was charged with conspiracy to commit assault and attempted murder. He faced a lengthy prison sentence. The attack on Soo-hyun served as a turning point. It galvanized public opinion and put immense pressure on the authorities to crack down on corruption. New laws were passed to protect whistleblowers and strengthen the independence of the judiciary. Soo-hyun, despite his injuries, refused to be intimidated. He used his platform to speak out against injustice and to advocate for the rights of the vulnerable. He became an even more powerful symbol of hope and resilience. During his recovery, Soo-hyun spent a lot of time reflecting on his life. He realized that fame and fortune were fleeting, but the impact he had on the lives of others would endure. He resolved to dedicate the rest of his life to serving others and fighting for justice. He also grew closer to Lee Min-jae. They were no longer just partners in a foundation, they were brothers, bound by a shared commitment to making the world a better place. One sunny afternoon, Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae visited the alleyway where they had first met. The overflowing dumpster was gone, replaced by a small garden. A plaque on the wall read, "In this place, hope was found." Soo-hyun smiled. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" he said. Lee Min-jae nodded. "We have. And it all started with a simple act of kindness." They stood in silence for a moment, contemplating the journey they had taken together. They knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. They had each other, and they had a purpose. As they walked away from the alleyway, Soo-hyun noticed a young man sitting on a bench, looking lost and dejected. He approached him cautiously. "Excuse me," Soo-hyun said, his voice soft and gentle. "Are you all right?" The young man looked up, his eyes filled with despair. Soo-hyun recognized the same pain he had seen in Lee Min-jae's eyes years ago. He sat down beside the young man and began to listen to his story. He knew that he couldn't solve all of his problems, but he could offer him a helping hand, a listening ear, and a glimmer of hope. Because that's what Kim Soo-hyun did. He helped people. It was in his nature. And the truth about him, the truth that had changed everything, was that he was a good man, a compassionate man, a man who believed in the power of kindness and the possibility of redemption. He knew that the world would always need people like him, people who were willing to stand up for what is right, to fight for justice, and to offer a helping hand to those in need. And he was determined to be one of those people, for as long as he lived. The Seoul night, no longer just a canvas of neon and shadow, now held the promise of a brighter future, one act of kindness at a time. The cycle of compassion, ignited in a dark alley, would continue, fueled by the unwavering spirit of Kim Soo-hyun and the enduring legacy of Lee Min-jae. And that, perhaps, was the greatest truth of all. The young man, whose name was Ji-hoon, had been recently released from prison, wrongly convicted of theft. He was struggling to find work and was ostracized by his family and community. Soo-hyun listened patiently, his heart aching for Ji-hoon's plight. He knew firsthand the challenges faced by those who had been unjustly accused. He offered Ji-hoon a meal, a warm place to stay for the night, and a promise to help him find a lawyer to clear his name. Ji-hoon, overwhelmed by Soo-hyun's kindness, broke down in tears. "I don't understand why you're doing this," he sobbed. "I'm nothing. I'm a nobody." Soo-hyun gently placed a hand on Ji-hoon's shoulder. "You're not nothing, Ji-hoon," he said. "You're a human being. And you deserve a second chance. Everyone does." He contacted the Justice for All Foundation and arranged for Ji-hoon to meet with one of their lawyers. The lawyer, a sharp and dedicated woman named Park San-mi, immediately took on Ji-hoon's case. San-mi meticulously reviewed the evidence and discovered several inconsistencies in the original investigation. She uncovered new witnesses who could corroborate Ji-hoon's alibi. It became clear that Ji-hoon had been framed by a corrupt police officer who had a personal vendetta against his family. San-mi fought tirelessly for Ji-hoon's exoneration. She presented her findings to the court, exposing the police officer's misconduct and highlighting the flaws in the original case. The judge, swayed by San-mi's compelling arguments, overturned Ji-hoon's conviction. Ji-hoon was finally free. He emerged from the courtroom a changed man, his face beaming with joy and gratitude. He rushed to Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae, who were waiting anxiously outside. "Thank you," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. You saved my life." Soo-hyun smiled. "You saved yourself, Ji-hoon," he said. "You had the strength to keep fighting, even when things seemed hopeless. We just gave you a little help along the way." Ji-hoon, inspired by Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae's example, decided to dedicate his life to helping others who had been wrongly accused. He joined the Justice for All Foundation as a volunteer, working tirelessly to raise awareness about wrongful convictions and to advocate for criminal justice reform. He became a powerful voice for the voiceless, sharing his story with audiences across the country. He spoke with passion and conviction, inspiring others to stand up for justice and to fight against oppression. One day, Ji-hoon was invited to speak at a conference on criminal justice reform. He stood on the stage, looking out at the audience, his heart filled with gratitude. He saw Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae in the front row, smiling proudly. He began his speech, his voice clear and strong. "I am here today because of the kindness of two men who believed in me when no one else did," he said. Kim Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae. "They gave me a second chance, and they showed me that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope." He paused, his eyes glistening with emotion. "I used to believe that the justice system was fair and impartial. But I learned firsthand that it is often flawed and biased. Innocent people are wrongly convicted every day, and their lives are shattered. We must do everything in our power to fix this broken system, to ensure that everyone has a fair chance at justice." He continued his speech, outlining his proposals for criminal justice reform. He called for greater transparency in police investigations, more funding for public defenders, and an end to mandatory minimum sentencing. His speech was met with thunderous applause. The audience was moved by his story and inspired by his vision for a more just and equitable society. After the conference, Ji-hoon was approached by a group of young lawyers who were eager to join the Justice for All Foundation. They were inspired by his passion and his commitment to fighting for justice. The foundation continued to grow and expand its reach, providing legal aid to more and more people who had been wrongly accused. It became a leading advocate for criminal justice reform, influencing policy decisions at the local, state, and national levels. Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae watched with pride as Ji-hoon blossomed into a powerful leader and a tireless advocate for justice. They knew that they had made a difference in his life, and that he was now making a difference in the lives of countless others. One evening, Soo-hyun, Lee Min-jae, and Ji-hoon were having dinner together at a small restaurant. They were reminiscing about the early days of the foundation, when they were just a small group of people with a big dream. "We've come a long way," Soo-hyun said, smiling. "We have," Lee Min-jae agreed. "And it's all thanks to you, Soo-hyun. You started it all with your act of kindness." Soo-hyun shook his head. "It wasn't just me," he said. "It was all of us. We all played a part. And we couldn't have done it without each other." Ji-hoon raised his glass. "To Soo-hyun and Lee Min-jae," he said. "To the men who saved my life and showed me the true meaning of justice." They clinked glasses and drank a toast to their friendship, their shared mission, and their unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. As they left the restaurant, Soo-hyun looked up at the night sky. The stars were shining brightly, illuminating the city with their gentle light. He felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over him. He knew that he had found his purpose in life, and that he was surrounded by people who loved and supported him. He had started out as a famous actor, but he had become something more. He had become a champion for the underdog, a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope in a world often filled with darkness. And it all started with a simple act of kindness, on a rainy night in Seoul. The truth about Lee Min-jae had changed everything, not just for him, but for Soo-hyun and Ji-hoon as well. It had shown them the true meaning of success, the true meaning of life. It had taught them that the greatest rewards come not from fame or fortune, but from making a positive impact on the lives of others. The ripple effect of compassion continued, spreading outwards, touching countless lives and inspiring hope in the darkest of corners. Kim Soo-hyun, the actor who helped a homeless man, had inadvertently become a catalyst for change, a symbol of the transformative power of human connection and the enduring pursuit of justice. And that legacy, he knew, would live on long after the cameras stopped flashing and the headlines faded away. He was content. Years passed. The Justice for All Foundation flourished, expanding its programs to include education initiatives for underprivileged youth and job training for former inmates. Soo-hyun remained its public face, lending his celebrity and unwavering enthusiasm to every campaign. Lee Min-jae, now a respected figure in the legal community, oversaw the foundation's operations with his characteristic shrewdness and unwavering dedication. Ji-hoon, having earned his law degree, became a lead attorney for the foundation, tirelessly defending the rights of the wrongly accused. Despite their successes, the trio faced new challenges. Public scrutiny intensified. Opponents, threatened by their growing influence, launched smear campaigns, attempting to discredit the foundation and undermine its credibility. Soo-hyun's past relationships were dredged up, misinterpreted, and sensationalized. Lee Min-jae's past struggles with the law were used to paint him as untrustworthy. Ji-hoon's criminal record, despite his exoneration, was repeatedly cited as evidence of his unsuitability. The pressure mounted. Soo-hyun found himself questioning his ability to withstand the relentless attacks. Lee Min-jae, ever pragmatic, urged caution and restraint. Ji-hoon, fueled by his own experiences with injustice, refused to back down, bound to fight back against the lies and distortions. One particularly vicious article accused Soo-hyun of using the foundation as a tax shelter, alleging that he was pocketing charitable donations for personal gain. The accusation was baseless, but the damage was done. Donations plummeted, and public support wavered. Soo-hyun was devastated. He had poured his heart and soul into the foundation, sacrificing his time, his money, and his reputation. To be accused of such a heinous act was a crushing blow. He considered stepping down, fearing that his presence was now doing more harm than good. Lee Min-jae and Ji-hoon rallied around him, refusing to let him give up. They launched a counter-campaign, providing irrefutable evidence of the foundation's financial transparency and highlighting its positive impact on the community. They organized town hall meetings, inviting the public to ask questions and voice their concerns. They released a series of videos featuring testimonials from people whose lives had been transformed by the foundation. Slowly, but surely, public opinion began to shift. The truth prevailed, and the smear campaign backfired. Donations surged, and support for the foundation reached an all-time high. Soo-hyun emerged from the crisis stronger and more determined than ever. He realized that he couldn't let the negativity of others define him. He had a purpose, and he wouldn't allow anyone to take that away from him. He decided to take a more active role in the foundation's day-to-day operations, immersing himself in the details of its programs and initiatives. He visited prisons, rehabilitation centers, and schools, meeting with the people whose lives were being impacted by the foundation's work. He listened to their stories, learned from their experiences, and became even more deeply committed to their cause. One day, while visiting a youth detention center, Soo-hyun met a young boy named Minho. Minho was serving time for petty theft, a crime he had committed out of desperation to feed his younger siblings. Soo-hyun was struck by Minho's intelligence and his quiet dignity. He saw in Minho a reflection of his own struggles with self-doubt and the weight of public perception. Soo-hyun became Minho's mentor, visiting him regularly and providing him with guidance and support. He encouraged Minho to pursue his education and to dream big. He helped Minho develop a plan for his future, a plan that included going to college and becoming a social worker. When Minho was released from detention, Soo-hyun helped him find a place to live and a job. He continued to mentor him, providing him with encouragement and guidance every step of the way. Minho thrived under Soo-hyun's mentorship. He excelled in his studies, earned a scholarship to a prestigious university, and graduated with honors. He went on to become a successful social worker, dedicating his life to helping other young people overcome adversity. Minute-Ho's story became a testament to the power of second chances and the transformative impact of mentorship. It inspired Soo-hyun to expand the Foundation's programs to include mentoring initiatives for at-risk youth. The Justice for All Foundation continued to evolve and adapt, responding to the changing needs of the community. It became a model for other nonprofit organizations, a beacon of hope in a world often filled with despair. Soo-hyun, Lee Min-jae, and Ji-hoon remained at the helm, guiding the foundation with their unwavering commitment to justice and their unwavering belief in the power of human connection. They had built something truly special, something that would endure long after they were gone. One evening, Soo-hyun was walking home from a fundraising event. He was tired, but he felt a sense of deep satisfaction. He had spent the evening talking to donors, sharing stories of the foundation's success, and inspiring them to give generously. As he turned a corner, he saw a figure huddled in a doorway. It was a homeless man, shivering in the cold. Soo-hyun paused, his heart aching for the man's plight. He remembered the night he had met Lee Min-jae, the night that had changed his life forever. He approached the homeless man cautiously. "Excuse me," he said, his voice soft and gentle. "Are you all right?" The homeless man looked up, his eyes filled with despair. Soo-hyun recognized the same pain he had seen in Lee Min-jae's eyes years ago. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He handed the homeless man a wad of cash. "Here," he said. "Take this. Get yourself something to eat and a warm place to sleep." The homeless man stared at the money, his eyes widening in disbelief. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "Thank you so much." Soo-hyun smiled. "You're welcome," he said. "Take care of yourself." He turned to walk away, but the homeless man stopped him. "Wait," he said. "I know you. You're Kim Soo-hyun, the actor." Soo-hyun nodded. "Yes, I am," he said. The homeless man's eyes filled with tears. "I used to be a lawyer," he said. "I had a family, a home, a good life. But I made some bad choices, and I lost everything." Soo-hyun listened patiently as the homeless man told his story. He learned that the man's name was Park Jin-woo, and that he had been disbarred after being convicted of embezzlement. He had lost his wife, his children, and his home. He had been living on the streets for years, struggling to survive. Soo-hyun felt a deep sense of compassion for Park Jin-woo. He saw in him a reflection of his own vulnerability, his own capacity for making mistakes. He knew that Park Jin-woo deserved a second chance. He offered Park Jin-woo a job at the Justice for All Foundation. He told him that he could use his legal skills to help.